Good evening, I'm Samantha Newssby, and this is Global Pulse News TV. A Georgia teenager responsible for the deadly mass shooting at Apalachee High School will spend the rest of his life behind bars. 16-year-old Colt Gray has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the attack that killed 2 students and 2 teachers and injured several others. The sentence was delivered in Barrow County after 3 days of emotional testimony from survivors and family members. Gray previously pleaded guilty to all 55 charges filed against him, including murder and aggravated assault. Because there was no negotiated plea agreement, the judge had to decide whether Gray would receive life in prison with the possibility of parole or life without parole. After considering the testimony and evidence presented in court, Judge Nicholas Prem imposed the maximum available punishment. The judge described the shooting as a calculated act and said the pain caused to the victims, their families, and the wider community would likely continue for generations. At the center of this case are the 4 lives that were taken. 14-year-old students Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn were killed alongside teachers Richard Aspinwall and Cristina Irimie. During the sentencing hearing, relatives described the lasting trauma caused by the attack. Christian Angulo's brother told the court that every day had become a nightmare. Richard Aspinwall's widow said that allowing the possibility of future parole hearings would force the families to repeatedly relive the tragedy. Several family members urged the judge to make sure Gray would never be released from prison. Prosecutors argued that the attack was carefully planned and was partly motivated by a desire for attention and notoriety. Investigators testified that Gray had studied previous school shootings and had shown an interest in mass killers and violent online content. Prosecutors maintained that although Gray experienced difficulties during his childhood, those circumstances did not excuse his decision to attack innocent students and teachers. The defense presented a different argument. Gray's attorney described his upbringing as unstable and deeply troubled. The defense said the teenager lacked proper emotional support, stability, and mental health treatment as his behavior became more concerning. His attorney requested a sentence that would have allowed the possibility of parole, arguing that rehabilitation could still be possible because of Gray's young age. However, the court ultimately concluded that life without parole was necessary to protect the public and recognize the seriousness of the crimes. The teenager's father, Colin Gray, also faced criminal charges connected to the school shooting. Authorities said the rifle used in the attack had been given to the teenager by his father as a Christmas present. Colin Gray was later convicted on charges that included second-degree murder and manslaughter. His sentencing was expected to take place separately. Officials have expressed hope that the conclusion of the criminal proceedings will provide some measure of legal closure. However, they acknowledge that no prison sentence can bring back the 4 victims or erase the suffering experienced by their relatives, classmates, colleagues, and survivors. The district attorney also urged parents, teachers, and communities to take disturbing behavioral changes and violent online interests seriously, especially when a young person may have access to firearms. As the Apalachee High School community continues to grieve, the victims, and not the person responsible for the attack, remain the most important part of this story. Christian Angulo, Mason Schermerhorn, Richard Aspinwall, Cristina Irimie, 4 people whose lives, families, and contributions must never be forgotten. I'm Samantha Newssby. Thank you for watching Global Pulse News TV. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more verified news coverage.